you ask Soraya Marquez. Soraya Marquez is from Mi Familia Vota. She is the Florida State Director. Soraya.
Okay. Mi Familia Vota does not support defunding the police. However, we do believe in reforming the police. Sheriff Mina, what reform do you see as necessary and vital for the law enforcement officials to help improve relationships between police officers and community of colors and immigrants?
All right, so thank you so much for the question. So really, since the George Floyd incident, we all saw the terrible actions of those former officers and then the inactions of the former officers who did nothing. So I think one of the worst things that we can do as a law enforcement profession is to say, well, that can't happen here. But certainly it can happen here. So after that incident, we had a number of meetings, both internally and externally, and a lot of feedback and input from our community, which we value deeply. So a lot of that feedback and input, suggestions and ideas, things like banning chokeholds and giving a warning before shooting. There's a lot of ideas that came in. We already do those here at the Orange County Sheriff's Office and at the Orlando Police Department, but there's always room for improvement. So 3 of the things that I am really pushing on a national level are these. So there's 18,000 law enforcement agencies across the country. And so that's one of the problems, that everyone's kind of doing a little thing differently. So we already have a national consensus on a use of force policy that's created by community members and law enforcement professionals, and a consensus on what the best practices are. We need the rest of the agencies to implement those changes that the progressive agencies like us have already done. We also need a national registry on police officers who have been terminated and or decertified. We also, so that if an officer gets fired from a police department in Minneapolis and then tries to come here to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, we need to be able to look up right away and find out if that officer or that person has been decertified in another state. Now, thankfully here, we're a large agency, so we have background investigators. We do significant background checks and talk to neighbors, old neighbors, references, and former employees. We do lie detector tests. We do psychological tests. But not every other agency in the United States can do that. So we need this national registry to help do that. So, but it also starts with internally, as far as looking in our own community. So I have a citizens advisory committee. So I have charged them with helping us create the best possible use of force policy that we have, and then continue to engage and have dialogue and discussion about, how do we ensure that we don't have racist deputy sheriffs? How do we ensure that once we identify someone who has committed a violation, that they're getting the most severe punishment? I've already told my deputies here that I'm going to have a zero tolerance on things like that, excessive force, and not treating people with dignity and respect. So since I've been here almost 2 years, and then even when I was chief in Orlando, I took a hard stance on those sorts of violations, and terminated many officers and many deputies. And although police unions have been upset with me recently and in the past, I have a bigger responsibility to the community at large to make sure that we have the best, most professional law enforcement agency possible, and that starts with the best policies, the best training, and the best connection or engagement with our community.
Soraya, do you have another question? Or are you good?
No, it's okay, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Sheriff
Thank
Mina.
you so much, Sheriff. Thank you so much. So now we have Anjali Baja. She is the candidate for the Orange County Commission for District 5, and she's here with us. Thank you, Anjali. Just unmute your microphone. Your microphone is muted.
Is my microphone better?
Now it's good.
Okay. Good evening, Sheriff John Mina. Thank you for being here with us today. One of my questions is that some of the underprivileged areas that that are not under the high income bracket, like Bithlo, we've seen that the crime rates, specifically going out into those areas, have been extremely high. And I wanted to see what the projection is from Orange County on what your outlook is for the next few years to bring these rates lower, because it is impacting not just the area over there, but it starts going towards the other areas as well. So I wanted to see what your plans were in the upcoming years to resolve some of those issues.
Right. So before this meeting, I got the latest crime stats. And so the good news is Orange County as a whole, when we compare this year so far to the same time period last year, we have already seen a decrease in crime by 9%. And then I specifically ran the stats in Bithlo, and actually there has been a 32% decrease in crime in Bithlo. Now, some of the issues regarding District 5 is, we call that Sector 2 for purposes here at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. It's so large. It's such a, it goes all the way out east to Bithlo, as you know, and then all the way south to Osceola County. So one of the things that we're doing here at the Sheriff's Office is we have 6 sectors, and Sector 2, that east side of Orange County, is the biggest. So what we're doing is we're hiring additional deputies. So last year I asked for an additional 60 deputies, which I was granted. This year I'll be asking for more deputies, and the following year I'll be asking for more deputies, because we did a study here, and the study showed that we need more deputy sheriffs to increase response times to attack crime issues out east. So luckily the county commission has been understands that issue. We know that 1,000 people a week are moving into Central Florida, and we don't see that stopping anytime soon. So we're continuing to add deputies out onto our streets. It seems to be working because the crime is dropping, despite what you may see on the news. Or so every area has its issues. So I work very closely with a lot of different community members. They email me their issues, and Captain Susan Wallace, who's the sector captain in that area, she's very hands-on and has done a lot to put not only marked deputy sheriffs in uniform and in marked patrol cars, but also we've sent a number of resources out in that area that people won't see. Undercover narcotics detectives, gang unit members that are in plain clothes, and that has helped drive down the crime in that area.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, Anjali. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we are going with Colectivo Árbol. Luis?
Yes, we have a question from Colectivo Árbol, which is a nonprofit organization. Ms. Isaret Jeffers is here with us today. She has a question for Sheriff Mina.
Isaret, let me unmute your microphone.
Hello?
Isaret, okay, now you're good. Go ahead, Isaret. Yes, now I can hear you.
Jim or Kathy have one question, and I have other one too, please. I can make it two?
Yes, of course. So are you going to start? Or
Jim or Kathy?
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Sheriff. Thank you for your service in our community. My question is, Is it true that if someone is pulled over by the police and doesn't speak very good English, they can say, I don't answer questions, and they will be free to go, especially if they haven't committed any crime?
So if someone is stopped by the police, so that means that they have committed some sort of traffic violation. It could be a minor traffic violation. But we're very fortunate here at the Sheriff's Office where we have a number of deputies who are bilingual. We have deputies who speak Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Arabic, and Creole. So in that case, what would happen is that deputy would call someone over to help translate and find out and help that person to find out, you know, what is the reason that this deputy should stop them and kind of work through the traffic stop and the language.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Is that it?
Yes, Sheriff, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I know you have a very good relationship with the Mexican community. You hearing me good?
No.
Okay, yeah, now, it cut out a little bit.
No. Maybe now? Sheriff? Yes?
Yeah, try now.
Okay, I'm trying. I know you have good relationship with the Mexican community. My question is, you have right now some discrimination case for some Mexican people?
Can you repeat it one more time, please? Can you repeat the question?
Is that it? Just say it a little bit louder.
Okay, let me move. Okay, so
Yes,
maybe very good.
better.
Yeah, try now.
Okay, Sheriff, right now you have some in discrimination case from some Mexican people.
Yeah.
¿Tiene algún
Yeah,
caso de discriminación de alguna gente mexicana?
Do you have any case in regards to a discrimination to Mexican people?
Do I have any what?
Any cases or anything that I have?
No, so, oh, okay, all right. So the question is, do we have any cases regarding the discrimination of Mexican people? No, no, absolutely not. Yeah, we do have a number of deputies who are Mexican descent. I have recently, since I've been sheriff, met with the Mexican consulate. I've met with the Brazilian consulate as well. And, you know, again, that goes back to really recruiting a diverse population. And I think one of the things that we're very lucky to have here in Orange County is we do have a diverse population. So that means we are recruiting all of those folks to become deputy sheriffs. So here's my recruiting pitch to you, that if you know people that want to change the criminal justice system, that want to be a part of something better than themselves, we are happy to bring them along. And the more diverse our agency is, the better that we can serve our public.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Okay, now we go. It's a question by immigration attorney Ingrid Morfa, and it's going to be asked by Luis.
Attorney Ingrid Morfa is asking you, Sheriff. I have a few clients that after being pulled over by an Orange County deputy without a driver license, the deputy called ICE to get them picked up. What's your position on this matter, and how are you preventing this from happening?
So that is not the way that we operate. I have made it very clear to our deputies that we are not immigration enforcement. The only thing that we enforce are state statutes and county ordinances. We don't arrest people based on their immigration status. I put in our policy that we don't treat people differently because of their immigration status. So if anyone ever has an issue, they need to come straight to me, especially with that, because I have made it very clear to my deputies that we are not here to enforce immigration. We're not here to check immigration status. We are here to prevent crime. And part of that is making sure that the entire community feels comfortable coming. So if someone is a victim or a witness of a crime and they're worried about their immigration status, they might not call us. So that's why our deputies that they're not to check immigration status. They're not to treat anyone differently based on their race, sex, sexual orientation, immigration status, and we want to treat everyone the same. We don't get involved with ICE raids. We don't communicate with them about that. So if that's happening, I need to know about it so I can fix that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sheriff. Thank you for
I'm
that.
sorry, I have a quick question about that. Just to be clear, Sheriff, so just to be clear, in Orange County, if someone does not have their papers, they don't have to feel scared of coming to your law enforcement, coming to law enforcement, correct?
That's absolutely correct. We don't.
Okay, just to make it clear.
Anyone based on their immigration status, and we don't have anything to do with that. We're here to protect people, and we're here to reduce and prevent crime.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheriff. So now we have a question by Beatriz Andrekovic. I'm gonna play the question for you. Just give me a moment.
Hello, my name is Beatriz Andrekovic from Mexico. Thank you for having this presentation. My question is, what to do with the racism and discrimination that we suffer as a Hispanic community? What can you do about it? What can we do about it?
I couldn't hear everything that she said.
Basically, she was saying that what do you think about the discrimination that sometimes the Hispanic community suffer, and how you and us can prevent that to happen?
So what I will say is America es para todos, right? This means America is for everyone. My dad immigrated here, and I believe that we should treat all people equal. I believe that immigration, people from other walks of life, from other countries, is one of the things that have made this country great, and especially Orange County in Central Florida. We have such a diverse population, especially with our Hispanic community. We welcome that. I embrace that, and really going back to what I said earlier, we need to continue to hire more Hispanic deputies that are bilingual, that will make our folks here in Orange County feel comfortable. When I was chief at the Orlando Police Department after the hurricanes, I sent officers down to Puerto Rico to ensure that we were engaged, we were helping that community, because we knew a number of family members of people that were here were down there. We knew a bunch of people from Puerto Rico were going to come to Central Florida because of the hurricane. So I embrace diversity. And again, I will hold our deputies accountable if I hear about any kind of racial discrimination, or really any kind of discrimination. That could be discrimination against someone's sexual orientation or religion as well. You're on mute. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Okay, now, all right, I was just saying that it's a bill that is called Justice in Act 2020, and that was introduced by the House of Representatives, looking to modify the code of law enforcement. What are your thoughts about it?
So that is an extremely long bill. I have been going through that page by page. I actually had the opportunity yesterday to talk to Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy about that bill. She had a number of questions about that. So there are a lot of good things in that bill. Again, banning chokeholds, creating a national registry for decertified officers is in some form or fashion in that bill. So one of the things that is in that bill that could be problematic and it getting passed is there's a section in there that talks about creating a national database for officers who have been accused of wrongdoing. So the problem from the law enforcement side we see with that is that we're all innocent until proven guilty. And just because someone says I'm a bad guy, someone says I did something wrong, doesn't mean I am wrong or I did do something bad or I am a bad law enforcement officer. So we would just ask that we don't have a problem with that. But I heard Congresswoman Val Demings mention something on that as well. You know, maybe if the violation is found to have happened, sustained violation, we called it, or for better lack of words, a guilty, then yes, of course, that needs to be a part of the database. So I wholeheartedly agree that we need, reform, and I think this bill has a lot of good legislative pieces in it that can help. Remember, I talked about the 18,000 different police agencies, help them come to a consensus on a lot of things that people want to see. So I think as it moves through the House and gets tweaked here and there, I think it could be a bill that ends up passing. And again, I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you so much there. We know that it's a lot to take, that is just a few things, but thank you so much for that information. Now we have Yadira Bello. She is the president of Centro Democrático, and she would like to ask you a question. Hello, Yadira. I need you to unmute your, okay, go ahead.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, correct.
I can hear you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Part of my question you already answered, but that was if you have a plan about, how to work against discrimination. But the other thing is how probably you can work to build the trust between the police and the community, because it's really weak. So how you can even working on it.
Yeah, so that's something I've been doing since I was chief in Orlando and here now as sheriff, building trust between our community members, treating people with dignity and respect. And it goes back to some of the things I already talked about, is listening to the community, letting the community have input. I have a number of advisory committees here at the sheriff's office. I have a Hispanic advisory committee. I have an African American advisory committee. I have an Arabic advisory committee, as well as a Haitian advisory committee. So listening to those groups and listening to their concerns, and then letting my deputy sheriffs know what those concerns on can help us continue to build trust. Doing all those activities like I talked about, one of the things that's very important to me is to engage with our youth at a young age, right? And so, being involved in the police athletic league, being involved in youth sports is very important to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. And so we just need to be out in our communities. The community just can't always see us when we are there for crime or for a call for service. They need to see us in a different light. And again, going back to this, one of the reasons we did the food drives, we gave away, 600 meals this week to people who have been furloughed, people who have been laid off because of the pandemic. We are from this community. We care about this community, and we want to make this community better. And that all starts with continuing the conversations, continuing to build trust. And I'm really flooded with a lot of thank yous from our community, and little things that it's not a viral moment or it doesn't make the news because it's not bad, but we have community and from all parts of our community, and it doesn't matter what race they are, thanking us for the job that we do. So very proud of the men and women of the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Is there room to improve? Certainly there's always room to improve, and we continue to do that.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheriff. So now we have a question from Luis Martinez. I think it's going to be very close to what we're talking about.
Yes. Sheriff, what equity measures will your office implement to minimize the use of police force and violent language, as well as to reducing racial profiling, particularly against Latinos in Central Florida?
So what we have put in place here already is the use of body-worn cameras. So everyone knows when you're on camera, if we're on camera now, everyone's behavior changes because you're on camera. And we know we're all watching each other. Same thing that happens with our deputy sheriffs. The deputy sheriffs are on the best behavior. The citizens are usually on their best behavior. That's not always the case. So what we do is we review footage from the body-worn cameras. We're able to go back and look at footage if there is a complaint, and we're able to discipline and hold that deputy accountable if they're using force, if they are using foul language. So another thing that we have is something called the early intervention system. So if a deputy sheriff has been involved in too many use of force cases, if they have too many complaints about conduct towards the public, if they have too many complaints about using foul language, they automatically get flagged. And so the supervisor and internal affairs, they go back and look at all those cases to see if there was an issue. Maybe the deputy's working too many hours. Maybe they need a change of scenery. Maybe they need more cultural diversity training and human diversity training to learn how to deal with people better. Or maybe they need counseling. So we look at all those things as a whole to ensure that there's no discrimination within the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Thank you so much. And we are going to be asking a few more questions. We are short on time, and we don't want to take more time from our sheriff. So now we have a question from Elizabeth Valencia. She's the president of Angel for Kids. Hello, Elizabeth. And just unmute your microphone. Thank you so much.
Yes. Hi, Clara.
How are you?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, Sheriff Mina.
Good afternoon.
I'm really glad to see you, and I'm an ambassador of with the women. Very proud to be. Thank you, Clara and Sonia. Hi, Luis. Good afternoon, Sheriff Mina. I represent the community of mental health professionals that we work with the families and caregivers that are part of the special needs population. I want to inquire if the Orange County Police Department has received any training when responding to any emergency calls that might involve children and adults who are autistic, and especially during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
Yeah, so great question. So yes, we do. So we're putting all of our deputies through what they call a crisis intervention training, and that's training specifically given by the folks at Aspire who deal with mental health all the time, and really to give us the tools to deal with someone in mental crisis. What it helps us de-escalate the situation. It's all about talking to people. So there are many people that with calls that we respond to where people they're not committing a crime, they're just in crisis. And whether it's they want to hurt themselves or others, or they want to damage property, we would rather get them the help that they need. So all of our deputy sheriffs are going through that. All the deputies in the schools that deal with our children go through that. So they also go through autism training as well. And we're trying to, so we've done that for all our school resource deputies. We're trying to get that for all deputies as well, because we know, and then finally, one last thing that I am looking at doing, there's a lot of, there's some progressive agencies around the nation that are really pairing up law enforcement with mental health professionals and responding out to those calls in some of the most serious cases to help de-escalate those situations. So lot going on here, I know, and I know we're running short, so I'll keep it there. But yes, we're very sensitive to that, and we provide training for our deputies.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Thank you so much. And yes, we are on our final 10 minutes, so we are going to be asking just 2 more questions. I know that we have Carmen Guzman. She is a psychologist from Venezuela, and she has a question. Carmen, unmute your microphone. I can hear you. You just have to just unmute quítale el micro, el mute al micrófono.
Okay.
Perfecto.
There you
Okay. La discriminación racial es una forma de violencia, ¿no? Y como la violencia tiene sus dimensiones, entre las que se puede mencionar la económica, la de género, la social, la jurídica, entre muchas otras. Pero está la dimensión psicológica. Tomando en cuenta que la dimensión psicológica es una de las que determina la conducta o el comportamiento de un sujeto, entonces, ¿qué programas en términos de salud mental ofrece el Estado para la intervención, tratamiento y prevención de los sujetos que aplican la violencia en nombre de la discriminación racial?
Okay. All right. So Sheriff is looking like, what is it there? Okay. So basically what she's asking is, what educational programs do you have there on your department, or is in a state maybe program about mental health to help either officers or civilians when they are facing this type of situations?
So the deputies and the officers in Central Florida, they all receive some mental health training in the police academy. And I hate to repeat myself, but it goes back to that crisis intervention training. So we're putting all our officers and deputies through that crisis intervention training to help them in mental crisis. So we respond to a number of calls that really have nothing to do with crime, and it's just people who are suffering from a mental health crisis. Either they haven't taken their meds, or there's something else going on in their life that ignited some type of incident. So the last thing that we want to do is put those folks in jail. So by giving all of our deputies this training to help deal with people in mental crisis, the amount of arrests have actually gone down, and the training also helps us de-escalate situations that might rise to some sort of violent type encounter.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheriff. And I'm so sorry, I know that everybody has questions and they're sending me questions, but we have just 5 more minutes, and I would like to take a moment for us to say thank you to the Sheriff. Thank you for everything that he's doing. Thank you for what the department is doing for our communities. And I would like you guys to see something that it was viral, something that it was very important for our communities. This picture, I'm pretty sure you all have seen it online and different networks. So through this picture, we just want to say, Sheriff, thank you so much, because you care. It shows that you do care. What was your thought when you did this?
So, I was standing in front of the police department with Chief Rolone, and I said, hey, why don't we go talk to the protesters and hear their side? So we went and talked to the young man right there. His name is Justin Tucker, and I wanted to hear his side. He was upset about police brutality and excessive force. And they said, well, if you guys really care, if you guys want to take this seriously, will you take a knee with us? And we said, yeah, we'll take a knee with you. And we wanted to do that to ensure that we showed our officers and deputies that, yeah, we're all in this together, and certainly take a knee to support the movement.
Thank you so much. So thank you for that. Thank you for trying to just give us a little bit of peace throughout these situations. We know that it's been very hard. So now we are just wrapping up. And we would like Sonia, our president, to just say thank you to our sheriff. Sonia, unmute your microphone, please. Quítale el mute al micrófono. Gracias. Ok, Sonia.
Ya, gracias, Clara. En nombre de la organización We the Women, nuestra junta directiva, nuestros embajadores y el mío propio, quiero dar las gracias a Sheriff Mina por su tiempo, por darnos esta exclusiva. Le decimos mil gracias, fue un diálogo muy agradable y creo que la comunidad de Orlando queda muy contenta con todas estas preguntas y respuestas que nos dio nuestro sheriff. Gracias y que Dios me lo bendiga.
Thank you so much, Sheriff Mina, for your time. I know that you're a very busy person, but something that is good for us is that every time that we need you, you are there. Thank you so very much. We want to say thank you to everyone that is here, that it took time to ask questions, send the questions, log in, and all this. So thank you very much. It shows that we as a community, we care for each other. And if we care for each other, we know that we can build a better Orange County, a better Orlando, and a better country. So thank you, everyone. And I don't want to leave without saying thank you to our friends from the agencies that help us to do this conversation today, which is Hispanic Federation. Thank you very much. Telemundo 31, thank you. And by the way, they are going to be passing parts of this recording tonight on the news. So you're going to see yourself there on the big TV. Thank you to Mi Familia Vota, Soraya Marquez, thank you so much. Thank you to Cabit Media. Thank you so much for the media helpers, Camilo Diaz and his partner, that it was helping us through this. So thank you, everyone.
Y agradecer a todas las personas que se conectaron para atender esta exclusiva.
Thank you so much. And Sheriff, please please give my thank you to your assistant, to Sherry. She's awesome, wonderful. Yes. Thank you so very much for her and for helping us today. Luis, you're great. Thank you so much. I know that Mr. Khalid was there and many others. Thank you for being here tonight. And if you guys have any more questions, I'm pretty sure that Sheriff Mina would mind if you send it through his email or by mail or any other fashion.
Happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed talking to all of you.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Clara, gracias, Sonia, por la oportunidad.
Bendiciones para todos. Bye.
Bye, igual.
Bye, everyone.
Gracias, amigos. Gracias. Gracias.
Gracias a todos.
Gracias a todos. Les queremos.